Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Idomeneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 5, Episode 11. So let's talk about one of the biggest challenges that you're going to face as a leader, enforcing policies with your top performers. You know, the superstars. Listen, we've all been there. You have this rock star employee who consistently delivers amazing results. Their numbers are off the charts. Clients love them. They're innovative and bring incredible value to your business. And they know it. So what happens when this superstar decides that certain policies just don't apply to them? Maybe they're chronically late, or they skip required documentation, or they bypass approval processes. Whatever it is, they've decided the rules are for everyone else. And you're stuck in this uncomfortable position. You don't want to alienate your top performer, but you can't have a workplace where policies only apply to some people. Well, the good news is that you can enforce policies with your superstars without losing them, but you need to approach it strategically. The first thing is communication. Now, when it comes to communicating the why behind policies, your high performers need to understand why your policies exist. These are smart, value-driven people. They aren't interested in following rules just because someone said so. When you're introducing or enforcing a policy, connect it directly to your business goals. Explain how this policy protects the company, supports the team, serves your clients, or meets compliance requirements. For example, don't just say, everyone needs to complete their timesheets by Friday at noon. Instead, try, we need accurate time tracking by Friday at noon so that we can bill clients correctly, manage project budgets effectively, and ensure everyone gets paid on time. You see, this level of transparency helps your top performers see the bigger picture. They're more likely to comply when they understand how the policy contributes to business success, rather than feeling like it's bureaucratic red tape. Now, let's talk about proactively addressing pushback, because you know you're going to get it. Even with a solid why, you might still get pushback from your superstars. They may say something like, I bring in the most revenue, so different rules should apply to me. Or, my results speak for themselves, so who cares if I follow every procedure? Now, this is where you need to be prepared with a clear message about fairness versus favoritism. And in fact, here's a little script that you can use. I value your contributions enormously, and that's exactly why I need you to help lead by example. When policies apply differently to different people, it erodes trust across the team. Now, I'm not asking you to follow this policy because I want to micromanage you. I'm asking because your influence in this company means others look to you for cues on what's acceptable. Your compliance strengthens our entire culture. Unquote. Just don't shy away from these conversations. Address resistance directly, but with respect. Acknowledge their value while firmly maintaining your standards. Now, when it comes to leading by example, accountability really does start at the top. Nothing is going to undermine your policy enforcement faster than your own non-compliance. So if you're asking employees to submit reports by Thursday, but you're consistently late with your own deliverables, well, now you've lost all credibility. If you require them to follow a specific process, but you take shortcuts, you're sending a clear message that policies are optional. As the leader, you must be the first to comply with every policy. Your actions speak much louder than your words. When I implemented a new client documentation procedure at eDomineo, I made sure I was the first to adopt it. Even though I had a million other priorities as CEO, I showed my team that this policy mattered by following it meticulously myself. And the result? Much faster adoption across the board because people saw me walking the talk. This kind of leadership builds a culture of accountability and trust. When your team sees you holding yourself to the same standards that you expect from them, it creates an environment where policies aren't seen as impositions, but as shared commitments to excellence. Now, here's where you can really flip things on their head. Make the superstar the hero of policy enforcement. Instead of positioning policies as rules being imposed on your superstar, involve them in the process and make them policy ambassadors. High performers typically want influence and ownership. Well, give it to them. Ask for their input on policy development or refinement. Invite them to lead discussions about why certain protocols matter. Even consider having them mentor newer team members on navigating company policies. When I had a particularly resistant top performer, I asked him to help revamp our client onboarding process. He had some very strong opinions about what was working and what wasn't, but by inviting him into the policy-making process, his attitude completely shifted. He went from being the biggest policy critic to its strongest advocate because he now had ownership in the system. You see, this approach transforms policy compliance from a top-down directive into a collaborative effort, where your superstar gets to exert positive influence on company culture. The bottom line is this: enforcing policies with your top performers isn't about putting them in their place or controlling their behavior. It's about creating a workplace that's fair, functional, and focused on collective success. When you clearly communicate the why, address pushback professionally, model compliance yourself, and involve your superstars in the process, well, now you have a place where policies are respected at all levels. Remember, exceptional results don't exempt anyone from being part of your team culture. In fact, the higher the performer, the more important their alignment becomes. When your superstars embrace your policies, everyone wins. Your team, your clients, and ultimately, your business. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.